In the paper, like one of the paper dinners still had a hand mark in it where you put your paper in and when you pull it out the hand was there.
Was that the ochre one?
Yeah.
With the ochres?
Yeah. We put the pulp around the hand. Once you lifted it out, it left a hole in the paper and the hand mark. So when we couldn't find a logo for a symbol for that, and we thought, now that she's gone, to have a piece of her with us all the time, we'd take her hand and use her hand. So we got Carl, Cecile's husband, to use that hand piece that she had and cut the frame up with the hands, so that every time you done a piece with the hand, you knew Enid was still doing things with us. Her hand was still with us. Yeah. So it was a way of keeping her with us, even though we lost her, early in the piece. But to keep her with us, and with me, every time I use the hand, that's her hand helping us to do the artwork too. So it's sort of keep her. Yeah, she'll be always with us. She won't be forgotten. The strength in that by using the hand. And I suppose that's how all women feel inside, if we all come together, that's the strength of us inside too. And it was time for us to move on, I guess. So we sort of looked around to get something else, for the people to come and where they felt safe, because a lot of people started to come to Yakka. People, so there was a lot of us, and have somewhere to go for us people where while we were living in Mount Isa, we couldn't get together, to have fun, I suppose, or have evenings together where you could mingle with one another and talk about old time things, what you done on the go and things like that, or what it was like on the station was like, or in a driving camp. When we come to Mount Isa, we couldn't get that connection, but when we was in the bush, we had it all the time. We were always together. We come to town and we were split. So, getting this paper mill up and running was a place where we could all come and help one another and talk about things, where what happened in your childhood, I guess, and how we could help somebody else, and just do little things together to keep people together, make us feel safe. A place where if you were down and out, you'd go there for comfort and healing, because that's what they used to do at Yakka. It's giving us, it's healing us and giving us pride in ourselves too, so you can see if you make it, like you take a picture of us, you took it and there's a picture. So for us to make us feel good, we do that thing and you can see it finished. Like the paper now, by the time it's nothing when you go out and get a piece of Spinifex. The time you cook it and make it and see the piece of paper, it makes you feel good inside, makes you feel really proud. So I'm now telling you what you're saying, you were lost. But what you're doing now, you're returning the favour, and putting everything on the table. What you can offer them, you're giving it back and then through the paper you make it. When we set it up, when we set this thing up, I didn't want any bitching between anybody in Mount Isa. It was a Mount Isa thing, it wasn't mine, it wasn't Sal's, it wasn't Corey's, it was Mount Isa's. So I thought, if I got the 5 different elders from different tribes, there wasn't one elder that owned it, that couldn't rule it, because there's 5 different elders there, so that meant that it was everybody's.
Yes.
So by putting the 5 different elders in there, giving me more of a road to say, well, if not one person owned it, everybody owned it, it's Mount Isa's, so because there's 5 tribes and 5 ladies come from different tribes.
And can you tell me the difference?
One's a Kalkadan, one's a Gungalina, one's a Yawara, one's a Pirapira, and one's a Arada. So by putting, and they're not just Mount Isa's, Like one's from Northern Territory that way, a couple from Bemidji way, and another one from Wollongong. So they're not just Maorisers. So they come here, it shows that anybody come into town, it's everybody's. If you're out of town, you still come in too, you've got a place to be. Well, if we're going to have reconciliation, this is it here. So this is where we reconcile here. The biggest part of us, this is not too good to study with, but by using this, don't care how much study you do more with your hands than what you study, sort of thing. So I always put it back that way. I can study, but I still got to use my hands to do it. So the biggest part of the paper mill is the hands for us, women's hands. And to use her hand, even though she's gone, to use her hands, that's the biggest part of us, is our hands. Everything's got to be done by our hands. You know, even our healing is done by our hands. So it's really good.
Christine Ballinger, master papermaker and now CEO of Craft Queensland, worked for 2 years with the women of Arilla Paper in Mount Isa. Her role was also to help develop an Indigenous women's business and develop the craft of papermaking. I was commissioned by Craft Queensland earlier this year to work with the experimental side of papermaking with the women, and this work culminates in an exhibition in October. This has been their story, and I thank them for letting me tell it.